Robert Whittaker is going to be taking on Reynor de Ridder at the main event of UFC Abu Dhabi Fight Night at the end of July. The Reaper is back. The Reaper is back. And he's going to be taking on someone, a bit of a familiar foe, you could say, with this kind of awkward style with good grappling and good kind of jiu-jitsu. We've seen this before. We've seen this before with Dricus du Plessis. And we saw how that fight kind of went for Rob. Not good. It was not a good showcase for the Robert Whittaker fan base, which is me. But I think Whittaker is going to get this one done. I think Whittaker's going to get this one done. As much as Reynor de Ridder looked good against Bo Nickel, Kevin Holland, and Jaron Mercer, this is a massive step up. And the fact is, like, he hasn't even had like a 14, 15 kind of ranked fight then. He's literally going straight to Whittaker. He fought like last week, bro, and he's already signed. This dude is an absolute fucking savage now, to be fair. You can't deny him, but I don't think being a savage is quite enough. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of reminds me of like when Bulk fought Makachev in like a week's notice. Oh, he's fucking savage. But it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? I think Whittaker, listen, Hamzat Chimaev fight, he got like a broken jaw, or like his teeth were caved in and like a broken jaw. That happens, okay? Hamzat Chimaev is an absolute beast, and he's going to go on and become a champion in that division, I would assume. That does not mean that Whittaker is washed. Marvin Vittori, Ikran Iskarov, Yoel Romero, how all these names, Jared Cannonier, that he's picked up over the years, Kelvin Gastelum, all these are kind of recent enough wins for Whittaker, okay? The Dricus fight was about 2 years ago now at this stage, which is pretty insane to think, but that was kind of like a real bump in the road for Whittaker ever getting the belt back, okay? Then he fights Chimaev after Ikran Iskarov. That was kind of on short notice. Whittaker actually chinned him as well in that fight, which is really good, but I think stylistically, it's going to be quite like a unique matchup for me not to pick Whittaker, because he seems to beat pretty much everyone, bar the kind of like really top end, like the Adesanyas, the Chimaevs, the Dricus. Adesanya, former champion. Dricus is the current champion. Chimaev's just about to fight for the belt and potentially beat Dricus du Plessis in their main event. So I wouldn't even go as far as to say Whittaker is washed. If Robert Whittaker was to lose this fight, though, it is bad news. It is absolutely bad news, okay? I think even like a Whittaker versus anyone in the top dogs, you know what I mean? Brauho's up there. I kind of was thinking they were going to do Brauho versus Imavov. Imavov, I think, would lose to Whittaker. And Imavov just chinned Adesanya. I think it's stylistically just a completely different... I don't know if he'd lose, actually. That's a good fight. I don't know. Maybe Imavov would win. That's a really good fight. But someone like an Imavov, kind of a bit of a stationary target, caught Adesanya perfectly. But I also think Whittaker's a better movement than Adesanya. I know Adesanya obviously beat him twice, but there are kind of different attributes. Styles make fights, as everyone always says. And I can see Whittaker having more success against these kind of a guys than Adesanya. But Adesanya's a really good style to beat Whittaker, as we've seen twice. Chinned him once, beat him in decision twice in the second fight. And Reynor de Ridder has very kind of awkward striking, but it's not quite like Dricus du Plessis charging forward. Like Dricus would be stationary for a second, have his kind of high guard, and then sloppily throw like a fucking three-piece with the soda. Or two-piece with soda. I can't remember what that fucking phrase was. That's an OG phrase, that. He throw like a combination, and he'd leave himself exposed, which a lot of people, no one just capitalised on yet. Adesanya couldn't capitalise on it. Whittaker couldn't capitalise on it. Strickland had like moments of capitalising on it. In the first fight, second fight was a complete shutdown. And Chimaev's going to come in there with a grappling heavy approach, which is something that, you know, Dricus really has never seen before. Someone with that level of that Chechen grappling, which is like, everyone says is like the next big thing in this sport. I've been hearing that for years now about how like Chimaev and people like that, even like Makachev's grappling is so superior to the people in this division. And I don't see Reynor de Ridder really posing the same level of threat that Dricus du Plessis did. Maybe within the submission game, but Robert Whittaker, I believe that was the first time in his whole career he's been submitted. Whittaker never gets submitted. You're either chinning him or going to a decision with him. And most of the time, if you're going to beat Whittaker, you're going to have to chin him. I don't think de Ridder has the striking to do that. I don't think he has the awkward enough movement that Dricus does that possesses the level of threat that comes with it to be able to get Whittaker down in those positions. I just don't see it. I think he's too much of a target for Whittaker to hit. And I think Whittaker's blitzing movements is going to be extremely utilized in this fight. And the uppercuts and stuff like that, I think are going to be a big one for Whittaker. Big one for Whittaker. I would love to see a few right uppercuts coming in there as he moves in on De Ridder. I think that could be a massive one. He needs to be careful because De Ridder does have good knees. De Ridder has boatloads of experience. Okay, now he's getting his feet wet in the UFC. You're fighting Robert Whittaker now. This is to get you in with them. It's sad to see kind of Whittaker is like number 5 now. I saw on the rankings as well, which is kind of shit. But now you're kind of going to go up there with the Imovovs, the Drickuses, you know, the Stricklands and stuff like that. Even Cannonier's still knocking on the door. Baraujo is making his way up. I saw Baraujo say he's fighting Imavov, but nothing ever came from that. No one really knows what story is with that fight. That fight just kind of vanished out, so we don't really know what story is there. And I actually just really want Whittaker to win because I really like Whittaker. I think he's a great guy. He's a great guy, great fighter, and I think he's gonna get this one done. Whittaker's like legacy is still intact regardless. Okay, it's not like Whittaker needs this win to really cement himself as one of the greatest middleweights ever, because he's already one of the greatest middleweights ever. Robert Whittaker has established himself. You know, the names I've listed off there: the Romeros, the Gastelums, the Cannoniers, the Marvin Vittoris, Darren Till as well. What a fucking scrap that was, and just an absolute beast. Just an absolute beast on the feet. I'm really fucking like, because I do remember back in those Drickus du Plessis days, I remember I was like, that was one of the fights I was literally just like, honestly, the only other fight I had like that level of confidence for a fighter was Sean O'Malley versus Aljamain Sterling. We saw how both of those fights went. You can never be too overconfident in a fighter, but there was no reason to pick Drickus du Plessis after the absolute terrible performance he gave against Derek Brunson. We all remember how bad that was on the Jones versus Gane card. That was one of the worst fights for top contenders in the UFC. Go back and watch that fight. It was an absolute disgrace. And I remember laughing at that. Literally laughing at that. Thinking there's absolutely no way. There's no way in hell Whittaker's going to let this one slip up against this kind of a level of competition. And Drickus is a reigning champion for about a year and a half since he beat Strickland in Canada, which is, it just doesn't even make any sense. It doesn't make sense that Drickus is able to finish Whittaker, finish Adesanya, you know, beat Sean Strickland, beat all these top guys. If he gets the win over Khamzat Chimaev, you have to talk about this dude as one of the pound for pound best. He's got such an awkwardly shit style, but this kind of an awkwardly shit style just has never been seen before in the UFC. And I just think it's just insane. It's just insane. But going back to De Ridder versus Bo Nickel for a second there. Bo Nickel got rushed way too quick into that fight. And all I'm saying is I picked De Ridder to finish Bo Nickel. That's all I'm saying. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that matter. And he actually finished Bo Nickel. That's all I'm saying. I just picked it. Now, did he finish him in the way I said? Yeah, you know, maybe not. You know, I did pick him by submission, but you know, he finished him regardless. Okay, I picked De Ridder to win the fight. Bo Nickel got so badly fraud checked in that fight, and I must say I did actually like. I don't like seeing people fall down. I don't like seeing it. Okay, but seeing some of the memes about Bo Nickel and shit, he was saying that he was going to be a minus 1,000 favorite if he fought Khamzat Chimaev for the belt and stuff like that. Like that is just that. What are you even like, man? When you say stuff like that and have performances like that, especially in the way that Bo Nickel got finished, I'm not a fucking UFC fighter, okay? I'm not a UFC fighter, but Bo Nickel just wilted and gave up. It's just a fact. I'm not saying, I dog it out. I'm not saying that, but I have to. It's a fact. Bo Nickel just wilted and said, "I'm done." You saw it on the look in his face. He was mentally broken to pieces, and De Ridder finished the job. I don't see Robert Whittaker breaking inside that cage. I just don't see Whittaker breaking inside that cage. I don't think I've ever seen Whittaker broken. The only time I've seen him discouraged in the Adesanya 2 fight when you know Adesanya was picking out range, but a lot of people thought Whittaker won that fight. A lot of people thought Whittaker won that fight, and Robert Whittaker's not breaking. Yoel Romero, 10 rounds with Yoel Romero, you're not breaking, man. It's just a fact. But Bo Nickel crumbled in the first sign of adversity he's had in his career, which is just an insane thing to think about. And Whittaker's been battle tested. De Ridder's not going to be able to do that. De Ridder will have success with like the knees in this fight. I think that could be an attribute that he'll get towards. But I'm picking Robert Whittaker. I'm going to go Robert Whittaker via 4th round TKO on this one as an early prediction. I'm going to be loving this fight when it comes around. I'm going to be loving this fight. But let me know what you think down below. And thanks for watching.